Hello, hello, hello. It is Talk Tuesday. Welcome, welcome to Talk Tuesday. Come on in, come on in. Let me first say hello, good evening, good morning, or good afternoon, wherever you are. We know Talk Tuesday is worldwide, soon to be global. Come on in, come on in. I am your host, Geraldine. Come on in. I'm excited. It's really excited tonight for our show tonight. So come on in, please. You're welcome to share. You're welcome to share. Again, say hello in the comments. Let me know that you are here. You are here on Talk Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It is July the 8th, 2025. I hope you all made it in safe from the storm. I know we had a storm here. It has passed, it looks like. But we're going to have a terrific show tonight. Come on in and share. Hello, Earlene, my sister, my regular. Come on in and share this Talk Tuesday. It's going to be an awesome Talk Tuesday. Hello, hello. We have our regulars. We have some new viewers. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk Tuesday. So excited. Hey, Shanice, my little niecey poo. Hello. Come on in. Come on in, everybody. Listen, y'all. Y'all know what Talk Tuesday is. Talk Tuesday is a conversation of inspiration, motivation, or empowerment, or all three. Anyone and everyone is welcome to Talk Tuesday. We have authors, we have entrepreneurs, we have people sharing their journey and their testimony. If you have a new business, listen, you're all welcome on Talk Tuesday. Again, it's conversations of inspiration, motivation, and empowerment. And boy, oh boy, we've had some wonderful guests on Talk Tuesday. First, I want to thank God for giving me the vision of Talk Tuesday. This is our 5th year. Hallelujah. This is our 5th year for Talk Tuesday, going into a new season in September. So come on in and share this live. Hello everybody on YouTube. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. So come on in. I'll bring my guest on tonight. I'm really excited tonight for my guest. I've known her for a very long time. I can say we grew up together on one side of the bridge, one on the other side of the bridge. We grew up together also, fellowshipping at the same church as young teenagers. And so our guest tonight is Andrea Taylor. She is an author. She is a mother. She's a grandmother. She's listen, she grew up in Baltimore. I'm not going to tell it all. I want her to come on so you guys can meet her. And so without further ado, let's bring our guest on tonight. Again, our guest is Andrea Taylor. All right, let's see where she is. Oh, 1 second. Okay, we're going to try to bring on one more time. All right, let's see. We have people joining in tonight. So if you're a first time viewer on Talk Tuesday, we appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Andrea is going to reconnect again. And so listen, oftentimes we have some technical issues, but listen, the devil is a liar because we have a story to tell tonight. And so we're going to wait a few minutes for her to come on. Again, let me know that you're here. Say hello. Again, thank you all for joining on Talk Tuesday. And this Talk Tuesday tonight, I'm just say a little bit. Andrea is an author, and so we're going to be sharing. We're going to be talking about her book. But we're also, this is Talk Tuesdays. First, I want to call it a book club, right? Because we are going to be talking about her book. And so, again, okay, we got it here. She's coming on now. Yeah. Uh-huh. Thank you. Hey, Andrea. Let me cut our music off. Hey, Andrea. Welcome to Talk Tuesday.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We surely, surely do appreciate you. I was telling people that you and I, we grew up together. Matter of fact, we grew up a little bit, going to the same church, fellowshipping together. So, I can say we kind of got some history here, and
Yeah.
so, and I was looking, just kind of just looking, lurking on Facebook, and I did not know until I went to your page and I saw it's like, oh, Andrea has a book. She's an author. So first of all, we're going to get into the book. We're going to talk about it again tonight. It's kind of like a book club because we got two other guests coming on. They have read your book. We're going to talk about that. We're going to ask you some questions. First of all, first time on Talk Tuesday. We have new viewers on Talk Tuesday. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Andrea Taylor. I'm the author of Becoming Mom Before Becoming Me. I'm a woman of faith, a mother, a storyteller who believes in bringing real struggles that shape us to life. My book was a personal journey of mine, something that I really used to hide, but I was willing to bring forward. So my story is for everybody, someone who felt like they were not enough or their troubles was going to last forever. I just wanted to share some light that, troubles don't last always.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. Now I know, of course, are your first time authors. Is this your first book?
Yes, this is my first of many books,
Okay, I like
and I'm
that. I
really
like that.
excited.
Now I do want to ask, and we're gonna talk about the book. But now have you always been a writer? When did you start writing?
Well, I've always liked to journal. I used to have a diary when I was little, but as an older person, I always wrote things down. My
Hmm.
thoughts, even my goals. My aspirations. I always was one to write them down. I have so many books that I just that I wrote in, and I just never did anything with them. So um, when I picked up the book, and I actually found a journal that I wrote
Ah,
probably about 15 years ago, just
mm,
like 2 months ago.
yeah.
And that really inspired me to get back into it. And I started typing it instead of writing it, and it was so
Okay.
much better. And I'm really inspired by writing now.
Okay. I was the same way. I'm an author as well. And, becoming an author and a writer, a lot of mine I know, and maybe yours too, does come from our experiences in life.
Yes.
And I had a journal. I think I was writing it for like 8 years, Andrea, before God said, listen, turn that journal into a book, right? Was there a time when like you said, like 15 years ago, like you found one of your journals? When was that time you felt like God was speaking to you, right? Oh, take this and make this into a book.
It was just actually just this past May. I was just laying around, and I had to say it was God, because it was like,
Yeah.
um, write the book. And I was like, what book?
Ah,
I really had no idea. When I really sat down to write the book, I didn't even know what I was writing.
wow.
I did. And then when I finished writing the book, I started writing it probably about 6 p.m. in the evening, and I finished writing it at 4 a.m.
Wow.
And when I got to the end of the book, I just cried so bad, because I
Mm,
didn't even know what this was. I was like, I saw myself in a room full of all these people, and I was standing up there saying, reading my book to them. And I was like, God, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're doing right now, but I'm gonna go to bed now because I don't know. And so I thought it was gonna I thought it was gonna be a long process before my book was
yeah.
published. Um
Yeah.
I went over it, I read it, to
Hmm.
my family, and they were
Yeah.
excited about it.
Yes.
And I didn't think it would get published, but it was published on the first try. It
Okay.
passed publications in 3 days. I'm
Wow.
still in awe. I'm still in awe that it passed publication. Yeah, I have mine right here too. it passed it passed publications in 3 days, and I found out that my book was published at 11:30 at night, and
Wow.
it was on a Saturday night. So on Sunday morning, the first person I told was my pastor, but I was
Yeah.
just telling him in passing. I didn't want him to make a big deal out of it, but
Right. But
he
you know
actually really
him.
pushed me into the feeling of being an author, because he was
Yes.
like, "She's an author. She's Andrea wrote a book," and I was like, "Pastor, I didn't even want you to tell anybody yet, because I was just telling you because it happened last night. I ain't even told nobody
Right.
yet, you know." But I'm glad that he did that,
Yeah.
because it did, help me to realize that, okay, you are an author, and you do
Yes.
have a story, and don't be ashamed that you're.
Yes. So the technical issue is Andrea is going to come back in for some reason. I'm not sure if it's on her end or my end, but it goes out right, and then she'll see, and then she'll sign back in. So we're praying even right now that God, you will continue with this interview. And Andrea, just if you can hear me, go out and come back on, girl, because guess what? We going to talk about this book tonight. There you go, Andre. I'm not sure why you keep going out. Let me see. I think she's frozen though. So what we gonna do? We're gonna let her. There you go, babe. I'm not sure why it's keep going out.
Oh,
But guess
good.
what? We're gonna keep on going on with the interview. And so I do want to mention that
Right.
Andrea's pastor is Pastor Arnold Marshall of the Community Outreach Ministry. We just had
Yes.
thank you, Day Day. She said it might be the weather. We just had a group of them on Talk Tuesday. And so what I wanted to do tonight, Andrea, I really wanted to kind of make this out of a book club, right? So I got the book, I read it in one night. I read it in one night. And I said, I came upon a couple of other people that also read it. And so I wanted to bring them on so we can really, a book club is you read the book and we talk about it. We want to ask you some questions. And so tonight, my two guests is Dorothy and Kim. They are both members of the Community Outreach Ministry. Kim is actually your cousin. And so
Yes.
I wanted them to come on. Listen, girl, they got their book all marked up just like mine. And so we want to talk about it. So I'm going to bring them on now,
Okay.
and let's get them. Hey, book club members.
Hey everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Well, this is listen. I was talking to them before we came on tonight, and I guess I was like, why she keep calling us book club members? But I am. And so we have Dorothy and we have Kim on tonight again. Kim, raise your hand up for me a little bit. That's Kim. That's Andrea's cousin. And Dorothy is her church member and friend. And so we wanted to come on tonight and talk about the book. So Andrea, I know you said that this is not just Andrea's story. It's a story for anyone who's ever been counted out and
Yes.
chose to rise anyway. So just tell us a little bit about the book.
The book is about me being a teenage parent, and being a teenage mom and growing up, going through the different struggles that a teenage parent would go through. I was really young when I was pregnant with my son, and um, it was a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
It's not something that I would want for anyone.
Yeah.
But I thank God that I made it through it, and it's a story now. It's not even something bad. It was just a different way of growing up.
Okay.
It
Okay.
wasn't, I didn't have many people who had the same experience
Hmm.
as I had,
Hmm.
so it was really different growing up.
Yeah. And I do want to mention that you were a teenage mom. Can you tell us how old you were?
Well, I was 12 years old.
Mm. Wow, wow. That's very, very young. And I think, I thank you for sharing this and we still got more to talk about, but this Talk Tuesday is for young mothers, young teen mothers. And I would say not just young teen mothers, but mothers now,
Right.
and I think we all can learn something. Mothers, I've never been a mother, but I've been a mother figure. and I've encountered young teen moms, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so this book, again, I read it in one setting, and I do want to say to you, I was like, as I'm reading and reading, and I'm like, okay, I kind of know where it's going, a young teen mother, but then, and if I can be open with you, when I said, and you said, like, it said pregnant, but then, like, when your age at 12 years old, and I want my book club members, if you want to just chime in. I know you have questions, but I also know that you want to, say some things. Like, at 12 years old, like, what was your thought? Like, how did you feel like that young?
Well, I didn't actually know where babies came from. Um, I would consider myself a normal, 12-year-old girl, not really knowing what's going on in life, but
Mhm.
I did know that when I became pregnant that I did want to have my baby. And I
Mm,
was so thankful that my parents didn't force me to have to make another decision.
okay.
Um, I knew I didn't know all it entailed, but I knew that something inside of me was inside of me and I wanted it.
Mm,
And
mm,
and I had to make the best of it, and
yeah,
so and I did. And so it was hard though. And I preached that to my children so much when they were younger, that
yeah,
none of my children, thank God, were teenage parents.
yeah, yeah.
They all were grown when they decided to have children, and
Hmm.
I'm thankful for that.
Now, and I do want. Now, and I had my questions too. Now, I know, like in the beginning of the book, when you weren't feeling good. Like you thought it was a cold. Did you
Yeah.
ever imagine that it would be like you
No.
was pregnant? So that
No,
didn't even
no. I
cross your
thought I
mind
had
at
the
all.
flu. I thought I had the flu because I had like the sore throat, everything, and I just thought I had the flu. I never even imagined or dreamed or thought or could have had an inkling that I was pregnant at all.
Yeah.
No,
Wow. Wow. That's
I didn't
something.
even really know what pregnant was.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Dorothy, Kim, Dorothy, I want to
Yeah.
go to you first.
Yeah.
I know me and Dorothy was talking about, like, we read the book twice.
Oh my
Give
goodness.
me, give me, give me some comments, but some questions for Andrea.
Here are all my notes. I found the book to be inspiring. I found it to be some things that I didn't know about you.
Hmm.
Um, and I think one of my favorite lines in the book, it says, "It took me a long time to realize that I was more than my situation."
Hmm.
And that came, and then going back how you vividly depicted you and your mother in that doctor's office,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
then them coming back to say you were pregnant, and then everybody just their eyes hit the floor.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I thought that you could actually see and feel you and your mother's expressions and feeling and the intensity of the room when the
Hmm.
doctor came back and not only informed you, but then you had to go home and share the news with the family and the community. And that was brave and just inspiring. And again, to say, this is not my destiny, but I'm going to keep whatever is inside of me.
Hmm. Hmm. What
Hmm.
about you, Kim?
Well, in chapter one, when this was real powerful for me that she had written, when she said, "There was love in my home, but there was also addiction, the
Yeah.
Hmm.
kind that made people disappear even when they were sitting right next to you." I thought that was really, like, for her at that young age to see
Yeah.
that, because sometimes when people have their loved ones with addiction, they usually turn against them or something, but she knew that that wasn't that person. Like she said, she knew the love in them,
Hmm.
although it was the addiction as well. So I thought that was, like, for her to be that young and to feel that way. We never think
Hmm.
that children, know what's going on, but they know a lot more than we think they do.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to ask you, Andrea, and I want to say this first of all, everybody. Honestly, like I said, I read it in one setting, but I went back to read it again because you know how sometimes you read something and you're just like, let me go back because you might have missed something. I have right here to purchase her book. Just go on Amazon, go in the search bar and put up Becoming Mom Before Becoming Me. please, I encourage you all. It's not going to take you long to read, but it's going to take you long to read if you understand what I'm saying, right? I do want to ask, like Dorothy mentioned, when you was in the doctor's office and came back, and you and your mom, you went home. I want to know how was, like, how did your mom treat you any different after that?
No, my mother, I can honestly say my mother has always showed me love, showed me grace when even when everybody else turned their back, I always had
Mm-hmm.
her. She always told me, hold your head up high,
Mm-hmm.
don't worry
Mm-hmm.
about what people say because you're beautiful, you're special. She always made sure she put that in me,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Mm-hmm.
can honestly say that I've always had her support.
Oh wow, that's awesome, awesome, awesome. And what about, and this is something, on Talk Tuesday, we're kind of open, and then it's up to you whether you want to talk about it tonight. Was the father present? Was he
No,
there for you? Okay.
no.
So you really, even at a young age, you became a single parent.
Yes, yes.
Right,
And
right.
my mother and dad, they were my baby daddy. They didn't let me miss a beat with that. Like really, they didn't. Like anything that a baby daddy's supposed to do, they did.
Yes.
They
Okay.
made sure I had it. In every way they could. Um,
Right.
Even when I had my son, my dad brought me flowers and
Wow.
candy and everything that I guess a woman's supposed to have when she have a baby.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
I didn't really miss that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what about, and I know Kim and Dorothy have some other questions. What about like the neighborhood, that you grew up in? And, oftentimes, and I say this even, as myself growing up in school, kids teasing me and things like that. What was it like with your peers and people you grew up with in the neighborhood and things, how was that?
I honestly felt like when I got off the bus and walked from Westport to Kent Street,
Mm-hmm.
I honestly felt like everybody opened their door and everybody whispered, "Look at her. Look at that little
Wow.
girl. Look at the baby," And it was never really accepted,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
because like even when I went to the doctor's office, the doctors told me, "You're the only person in the world that ever had a baby at that age."
Wow.
And
Oh
for
my
years,
God.
I really thought that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it, it 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 wasn't good at all.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It wasn't good at all. People
Yeah.
didn't accept it. They didn't ask questions.
Okay.
They didn't ask no questions. How? Why? Are you okay? Nothing like that. Only
Mm-hmm.
judgment.
Judgment. Right.
Hmm.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think that's the first thing, um, when your life doesn't go quite how they think, and that's the first thing that does happen. It is judgment, and that's hard. You
Hmm.
gotta be around a neighborhood. You still gotta come outside. You can't stay in, but at the same time, you have people whispering and people saying things and people assuming and things like that. Dorothy, some more other questions you had.
I found intriguing and very enlightening the role and the sacred place that your grandparents had. That you found a safe haven in your grandmother and your grandparents' house,
Yeah.
and that your educators that not I think the one teacher you talked about looked not past you but actually continued to affirm you like that you were special. And I
Mhm.
think for educators or people who have influence with children, it's important for us to create, even if the people around us don't have a safe zone, to create a safe zone, to
Yeah.
create an encouraging
Mhm.
circle. So I
Mhm.
found that really interesting and kind of almost indicating on what we should become, what our grandparents used to be.
Right.
Mhm. Now, Kim, I want to ask. I mean, you guys are cousins, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know you are close. If you can remember, like, what was your thoughts? What was your feelings back then?
Um, I couldn't believe that it was really happening,
Mm-hmm.
and I was kind of like scared for her. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like to make it through that, you know, like
Yeah.
having a baby so young,
Yeah.
because at that time she looked like a baby, you know, and to say
Mm-hmm.
that, and these things that she's saying happened, I was there and saw them happen,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it didn't feel good, you
Yeah.
know. And then like when she came out and told the story, because before she actually published, she asked me, she kept calling me, I want you to read the book, I want you to read the book. So I was like, I gotta read the book. So when I read the book, I was happy about her story, to see that she has overcome it, you know, because this could have really like messed her up mentally, and it
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
It
Absolutely.
really didn't. And then I felt like I wish I knew all of that was going on. And
Wow.
like I felt like maybe it was something I could have did.
Mm-hmm.
Spent more
Mm-hmm.
time with her, because I'm older than her. So we really didn't get a real close bond until we became adults,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm so much older than her. So, you know, she's my little cousin. So,
Right.
but you know,
Right.
once we became
You make me
adults,
feel little.
then you know we were able to to you know have the relationship that we have with one another as women, you know. But it wasn't like that, and just to think of who I am right now, you know, it make you like, dang, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even know, you
Right.
know, that it was all that was going on in her head, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Um, I do want to ask you, Andrea. I, of course, people know I wasn't able to have children, but I do want to ask, so young, what was your birthing experience like? We could say a baby having a baby or teenager having a teenager. I mean, nobody can prepare you. Kim knows, Dorothy knows, they've had children, right?
Right.
But just to be so young, I mean, how do you prepare for the physical and the pain at that age of having a baby?
I don't think you can prepare for it. It's just gonna come anyway. Um, but my labor was actually good. I did suffer with preeclampsia right after I had my son. My son was 4 days old, and I
Mm,
started having seizures. My blood
mm,
pressure was really elevated, really high, and I was in a coma for 2 weeks
oh
after
Mm.
I had
wow.
my son.
Oh,
But
Wow.
after that, I still have high blood pressure now. That's
mhm.
controlled, thank God. But
Thank
that's when my
God.
blood pressure problem started.
Mm-hmm.
But after then, everybody else came out right with no
Uh-huh.
problems.
Yes, and one thing that I like in one of the chapters, um it said, you are capable of healing, of loving, of building something beautiful from pieces from your past, right?
Mm.
And that, I think that's so powerful because oftentimes it depends, like we're so stuck in our past, right?
Mhm.
Bringing being a young teen mother, and I think I want to ask, like, looking back, and I'm going to ask, what would you say to your 12-year-old self now?
um, I would say, um, you're gonna be okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with you now is not forever.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Mm-hmm.
definitely say that to her, and I would tell her to pick your head up because
Mm-hmm.
trouble don't last always.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think, I think you said you felt, or the doctors were saying, like, you were the only person
Hmm.
so young, but really you
I
weren't.
really wasn't
No,
right.
you
Yeah,
was
that was just
not.
something rude to say to stick in my head. I guess probably thought I was a bad person because I was pregnant,
Right, right, right.
um, but that was just one of those. That was just another one of those rude things that didn't break me. It actually shaped me
Mm,
because I did want to know, was I the only person in the world that was the first person that at that age? Because if so, I need to be paid. And so, and if I hit the world record, I need to be paid. But I wasn't, and so um, now when I think about it, I just know
mm-hmm,
that was just something rude to say, and it
mm-hmm,
also helps me that I meet a lot of me's
mm,
all the
Mm.
time, and I handle them with grace. I handle them with love. I can
yeah,
see them before they even say anything to me,
yeah,
and I thank God that I'm that person.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I believe, and I truly believe that, trials and tribulations, whatever that may be, it does make us strong. It really,
Mhm.
really does. Dorothy, what else?
Oh my goodness, it's so much. It's just so much. So I love the transition when you struggled with the two boys and then you had a daughter. And so can you like tell us about how you had matured or grown between the time you had the boys and then the girl who brought a different kind of joy in the house?
Okay, well, both of my sons were, I had them when I was a teenager. I had my first son at 13 and my second son at 16.
Mm,
Um, but my daughter, I had her when I was married.
mm-hmm.
Right.
So I had a whole lot of more experience of being a mom, and I wanted a little girl so bad, you know. Um, and she brought a whole different, balance to our life. She really did. She came in not playing with them boys. They didn't play with the baby. um, and she just brought a whole different dynamic to our family.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Kim? Anything else?
Um, what I asked you was in the chapter that when you talked about all right, when you said that you was coming to grips with everything. This was in the beginning, and how at that young age you had said you felt that flicker of peace. Can you tell us how, like, what that was?
Oh,
Um, I guess once I really felt my son kicking in my stomach, I felt like, wow, this is really happening,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't be so woe is me anymore. I gotta pep up and be this mom for this baby that's gonna be dependent on me. He's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
looking up to me to know everything and have everything,
Mm-hmm.
that I need. So I couldn't do that. I didn't have no space for that. And I think that's when, everything hit me that it's not even as bad as people make it be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had children at a very young age, but I am very thankful now that
Mm-hmm.
I had my children at that age. I don't even think that I would want to have kids in my 20s or 30s, to be honest with you, because all of my children are grown. They have their own children, and now Andre can get to really know who she is. That's why I probably can write the
Ah.
book, because I had time to do that. I had
yeah.
time to be able to think about something Andre wanted to do.
Right.
That's good. That's good.
That's good. And I want to ask too, because like you could have written this book. Of course that was, a while ago, a long time ago. You could have written this book, kind of back then, or maybe you could have written it 10 years ago or 5 years ago. Why now?
God told me to write it now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when he told me to write it, I didn't even know it was going to be this, but I didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't even know it was a thing. Then when I got the title, when the title came to me, because I wrote the book before I had the title,
Wow. Mm.
and when the title came to me, it really touched me. The
Mhm.
book is very emotional for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though it is my story and I've been through it and it's over, that's a part of my past. I still feel that pain.
Mm.
When I read the book, it didn't really. It was a good pain though. It was a good release. I cried so bad, and I
Ah.
needed that.
Yeah.
Because I can talk about the book. I can talk about what happened,
Yeah.
and I don't really feel bad about anything, any decision that I made.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, um, I wanted to have my son when I found out I was pregnant, and I did, and I thank God I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Dorothy.
Yes, I just really think that it's inspiring. It encourages me to bless the book. I'm blessed like a young parent because
Mm.
and I think you talked about in the book. You thought and you felt like you were the only one, but in
Right.
reality, it's so many people that are going through it even now, and they're
Right.
being made to feel like, oh, they're the only one with a broken relationship. There's the only one with no baby daddy, or only one with, these set of circumstances with addiction in the house and those kind of
Mhm.
things. And so, and then for you really to be walking in your purpose now, in terms of your profession, it really just says a full circle moment that I think a lot of young mothers and fathers probably need now as a
Mhm.
beacon of hope.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Andrea, she'll be back in.
Mhm,
She keeps going in and out, but that's okay.
mhm,
Kim, I do want to ask you, like you said, Andrea had, she had told the family,
Hmm.
in reference, to the book, and maybe you not knowing all that would be in the book. Did you have any? I don't want to say doubts, but did you have any thoughts of like, oh, what is she gonna have in the book? Is she, did you have any inclination of like, what is this book really gonna be about?
No,
Okay.
I really didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I knew, I mean, I know some of the story, a lot of the things, that is in the book, but I didn't
Yeah.
ever think like it was nothing that anybody had to be afraid of.
Yeah.
Because first looking at it, it is her story.
Yes.
mhm,
It's not our story. Even if she had said something about somebody that wasn't right, or I
Okay.
feel like, how that's her story. And we can all be in a situation but have a different experience.
Yeah.
mhm. That's
Mm-hmm.
good. That's
Mm-hmm.
good.
That's,
Yeah.
her experience is hers. We can sit right
Yeah.
by each other and I say I didn't feel what she felt.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
And
good.
that's the
Yeah.
same thing, with the book. It's not none of our story, it's hers. we,
Mhm,
di-
Right.
we didn't have that experience.
And and I always say, listen, nobody can tell your story like you can.
yeah.
Right.
Andrea, did you feel like, writing this book, like you said, and I was asking Kim, you had talked to the family. Did you like feel some type of way about, oh, what are they gonna think? Are they gonna judge me? Because listen, family and friends, they judge.
Hmm.
Did you have that feeling of wonder what they're gonna think? Or like Kim said, like this is your story.
Well, I know that I knew that I would get some good and bad feedback
Mm.
from the book, but God told me to do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You taught that you take that up with God. And don't
Yeah.
don't mess with me. God gave me my deliverance, and however I had to get it, then that's between me and God.
Right. Yeah,
So I
get it.
didn't
I
have
get
no.
it.
Hmm.
I didn't do it maliciously.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
so I really couldn't take nothing that anybody said that was negative, and
Mhm.
personally, because I did what God told me to do. He told me to
Yeah.
write the book.
Write it. Write the book. Make it plain. Write
Make
the
it
Hmm.
vision,
plain.
make it plain.
Yeah.
And he made it plain. And
Mhm,
and that's something between you and God,
Yeah.
right?
mhm.
I do want to I want to go back just a little bit. Back then the pregnant school is Paquin, right?
I actually went to Villa
Say
Louise at
that.
St. Agnes.
Yeah, say that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that school, it was open probably for like 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was the first class though that went to Villa Louise.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was for my mother didn't want me to go to Pequin.
Okay.
My mother felt like everybody at Pequin had baby. I don't know. I was having a baby too, but
Right.
but my mother felt like everybody at Pequin they just kept having babies. So she was totally against it. If I could have went to a Catholic school that she had to pay for, I was gonna go there. I just wasn't going to Pequin. She was
Right.
totally against Pequin. I don't know why. She just didn't like it at all. But I was
Okay.
glad that she did find a school in St. Agnes Hospital, and
Mm-hmm.
I went there for sixth grade and seventh grade.
Oh,
And then I went back to Lakeland in seventh grade.
okay. Okay. Now, was that school for pregnant moms?
Yeah, it was only for pregnant teenage
Okay.
moms. Yeah,
Now, then you went to the school, so you were able to be around other girls, of
I was
course,
the
that were
youngest
pregnant.
one. I was
Mm-hmm.
the youngest one in the school, and they made
Oh,
sure I
wow.
knew it.
Really?
Yeah, they made sure I knew it. I was the little
Uh,
girl.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was the
Mm-hmm.
little girl having a baby.
Yeah, I
But
remember
Uh,
then
seeing
when I
that.
started bringing seafood salad, they liked me.
See, you made a mistake. You start feeding them,
Yeah, I
Andrea.
started feeding them. Then everybody liked me, and I wasn't the little girl anymore.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah.
Everyone, this is Talk Tuesday. We're talking to Andrea Taylor. She is the author of Becoming Mom Before Becoming Me. And the title is it's so fitting for your story. It's
Yeah.
so fitting for your story. But you said you wrote it before you came up with the title.
Yes.
How did you
Hmm.
come up with the title? Because of your story. How did you come up with
Because
this title?
when I read the book, I was just writing down some stuff, becoming a mom, and then I just had to do some research to make sure someone else didn't have the name.
Okay, okay.
And so when I was like, okay, becoming mom before becoming me, because it's other books that's becoming mom something,
Oh, okay.
And
Got
so
you.
it really the title really shook me.
Really?
Like a lot of people have contacted me and was like, the title of your book gave me chills.
Yeah,
And I'm like, really? And it was like,
Yeah,
yes, because they could relate to it in so many different ways. Not even necessarily being a teenage mom, but just being a
yeah,
mom.
yeah.
hmm,
And that's what I said in the beginning. Your story is about being a young teenage mom, but it also relates to those that are young having children, but also moms now. Like,
Right.
let me ask you, Dorothy, like as far as like I'm sorry, we know Derek is no longer with us, but becoming a mom, like this
hmm,
title, can
hmm.
you put yourself in this title?
Oh, definitely, absolutely. I think about when she talked about the disappointment in becoming a mother. I
Yeah.
think about our family was so disappointed in me becoming a mother, and I was graduating high school. Um,
Ah,
and so, you know, I had one uncle that didn't speak to me the entire pregnancy, my
wow.
entire pregnancy, and later I made him Derek's godfather. But I said, "Oh, you're gonna be." But in terms of the family, Andrea's family, I think in her particular, her grandmother encouraged her and loved her. It was a safe zone, and
Ah,
I always had that. So I definitely can understand the disappointment or feel the disappointment, but to
yeah,
say this is not your your ending. This is
yeah,
just a situation. I didn't go away to college like I was supposed to, but I still finished college. So
Right.
I definitely think it's for any mother, teenage or single mother, or even
mm-hmm,
a mother who is facing a marriage that's failing or a relationship that's failing and was brave enough to say, this won't be my children's experience.
okay,
And
Yes.
I think when she talked about being brave enough to realize there was some situations in that marriage that made her be brave enough to say, this cannot be my
nah,
children's legacy.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, right. Kim, can you see yourself in this title?
Yeah, because I had Brandon when I was 16, and
Mm,
I was kind of disappointed in myself
mm,
because that was always said once you got into the boys, you better not
mm,
come in here with no baby,
mm.
and then sometimes I felt like some people just knew that would happen, so I was trying to prove them wrong, but
Ah,
I got caught up and it happened.
mm-hmm,
And I was a little disappointed, but once it had happened, I just felt like, I was going to do what I had to do.
yeah,
And especially once I had that baby, my whole perspective on a lot of things changed
yeah,
because in my mind, I had said I wasn't going to have kids and I didn't want kids.
mm-hmm.
And now when I look at it and I remember that I really felt that way, and I
Yeah,
think about the relationship that I have with them, I was like,
mm-hmm.
what would I do?
Yeah,
If I can't believe I felt that way, once
mm-hmm.
once it all happened. But when it did happen, it was like my life wasn't mine no more.
Ah,
Because everything
yeah,
that you have to do, you have to think about
but for the
that person that's looking at you.
yeah, yeah,
And that's how, my whole way of thinking changed.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
definitely can see myself in that title.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. I get it.
Mhm.
Andre, I do want to ask, I was doing my homework, but and I was just reading your bio, and it says, ultimately revealing a testimony of resilience, faith, and transformation. I like the word transformation. Tell us a little bit about that through this journey or through your book, Transformation.
The transformation was from being a child and having childish ways, childish thoughts. You know, I
Mm,
had to become a woman and I had to become a mom. I
mm,
couldn't do none of the no childish things, you know,
right.
until, you know, I just couldn't do it. I just had that.
Mhm.
That was my transformation. I had to be a woman. I had to be a mom. I couldn't be
Yeah.
a little girl. It, it was no time that I could even go back to that, so
Mhm.
that was the
Mhm.
transformation.
Yeah, yeah. And another thing, I was reading on your back of your book, and it says, a reminder that healing is possible, even when the world tries to write your story for you. Like
Yes.
Kim was just talking about that. Nobody can write your story like you can. And
Hmm.
so I do want to ask, and we were talking before, and you was like, well, my next book is coming out. Sometimes because people ask me, Geraldine, when you going to write your next book? God ain't tell me to write it yet, right?
Right.
And so, like, but you and we were talking before about, like, you got some more books in you, girl.
Yeah.
You got some more stories. Is it like a continuation of your testimony or autobiography, or what types of books are coming?
I have two books coming. The next book that's coming is called No Labels, Just Legacy, and it's talking
Mm,
about me, not wearing name brand clothes when I was younger, and how I
mm,
created my own style. How
mhm,
I fixed the girls up in my neighborhood and made them be princesses, and I wanted them to look the way I wanted them to look from my paper dolls.
mm,
Um, and the other book is a love story. It's called The Revival of Lily, and it's a love
mhm,
story.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. Listen, I like that. I like that. And I think, and for me, maybe for you, like writing is healing.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's
It
a
was
it's a
healing.
feeling that I never imagined that will fulfill me.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it so much. I can't wait to, I have a lot going on my plate right now, but I can't wait to get back, and be able to sit there and just let my mind go
Yeah.
wander
Yeah.
off, and
Yes.
I'll be stuck there for a long time, and I'll be in it, and I don't even care what's going on around me because I'll be in my own world, like,
Right.
and it's so refreshing. It's wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. Dorothy, give me your. We're gonna end a little bit, but give us your lasting thoughts, or if you have another question.
No, I just want to say it was very inspiring, and I'm glad
Thank
she was
you.
brave enough to write the book and
Thank
about
you
her
so much.
experience, and
Yeah.
especially how she's now using all her challenges to help others
Mhm.
in her
Yeah.
Oh,
profession.
yeah. I like
Yeah.
that, Kim.
Mhm. Well, I want to say that I am just like so proud of you and
Thank
that
you so
I
much.
love you
I
and
love you too.
I mean just this story is just it's just out of this world for real, and to see you now that you came through all that, it is really a blessing, and
Yes.
I'm glad to call you my family member.
Right.
That you've been through that. You a survivor,
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm a
Kim.
you came
warrior.
through.
Yes.
You came through, and you have the biggest heart in the world to have
Mhm.
been through this stuff. Sometimes I'll be like, girl, pull it back. You're doing too much, but
Right.
don't pay me no mind. Keep on doing what you're doing. I'm proud of you, and you just keep on doing what you're doing, Andrea, and I love you.
I love you
Yeah,
too. Thank you
yeah.
so much.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and we do have a couple of comments. People say it's powerful. My role model, my motivation. That might be your daughter or one of your grandbabies on there talking. So, Andre gonna come back on. It keep clicking off, but that's okay. I do wanna. I'm listing her, please, and Kim and Dorothy can attest to this. Like, I know Dorothy probably read the book twice. I read it twice. Kim looked over it again after
Yes, I
reading
did.
it.
Yes,
And
yes.
you know how sometimes, lady, you read a book and you like, oh, okay. But when
Hmm.
I was reading it, right, and I'm like, I know that's not what's about to be next.
Right.
And so, and as it was, but again, as you said, Dorothy and Kim, it was so inspiring because oftentimes you look at people, and always people don't judge a book by its cover, right?
Mhm.
Don't judge a book by its cover. And like you said, Kim, everybody has a story to tell. And
Mhm.
so I want to, everybody that's on here tonight, listen, Amazon got some deals going on, right? Go on Amazon. Again, it's posted here. All you have to do is put in "Becoming Mom Before Becoming Me" and purchase the book. Support. Support is
Yeah.
very, very important. So let's support her. When y'all get off Talk Tuesday tonight, go on Amazon and get this book. I read it in one setting. Dorothy got her book. I
Mhm.
got mine. Kim got hers.
I got mine.
Yeah.
Let me pick it up. Pick up mine.
Andre, I want to say to you, thank you so much for coming on. And I was telling my good friend, I was like, this just the beginning for you.
Thank you so much. And I
This is
really, I accept that, and I believe it too. I do.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. God has something greater in store for
Yes, he
you.
do. Thank you,
He
Lord.
knows the plans that He has for you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I want to thank Dorothy and Kim for coming
Mhm.
on tonight. I really do appreciate you guys, the questions.
Thank you so
And listen,
much.
guys, you can get in contact with Andre. Go on TikTok. She on TikTok, okay? She's on Instagram. Go on there. She's on Facebook. And also, if you have some questions that you didn't get a chance to ask here, just go on her Facebook or TikTok, Instagram. Send her a DM. If you want to congratulate her, please, please do. And I know. Oh, thank you, Miss Pat. Hi, Survivor. I love you, cousin. I'm so proud of you, Andrea.
Thank you.
Um, and very soon, Andrea, you have a book signing coming up.
Yes.
So you don't have any details yet. But what we're gonna do is once you find out, get everything, everything is definite. I'm gonna actually post it. And so
Okay.
please, guys, I want you to show up. I gotta find her now because I need my book autographed.
That's
Um,
right.
I know where to find you on Sunday. So so I want Andre, we're gonna end tonight, but I want you to leave something for our viewers, something motivational, inspirational, or anything that you want to say. Please do.
Okay. I would just like to say that your story is not over just because it started differently than you planned. God has a way of bringing beauty from broken beginnings. Whether
Mm.
you're a mom, a daughter, or a woman trying to rediscover yourself, there's still more in you. It's okay to go back and meet the girl you left behind.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Mm.
that's good.
Wow.
Yay. Oh
Wow.
man. Hey,
Look,
y'all see her t-shirt,
Yes.
right? Yes. Look.
meet the girl
Yes.
you left behind. Mm.
Hey ladies, stay on for a minute. I'm gonna put you backstage. So stay there for me, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
thank you, Andrea.
Thank you,
Thank you so, so,
everybody.
so much.
Thank
Hmm.
you.
Listen, y'all, I'm telling you right now, you have to go on Amazon and get this book. I promise you. You won't, and honestly, you won't be able to put it down. That's what happened to me. Got my delivery and I was in the bed. It was not at nighttime. You know how sometimes you fall asleep, you're reading, but not this. I was able to read it in one setting. Again, please support, support, support. She has more projects coming up, more books coming out. She has her book signing coming up. I will definitely post the information for her book signing. Please come support. Again, it is an awesome, awesome book that I recommend, not just for young mothers, but for any and everybody. Okay. So go support her. I thank her so much for accepting the invitation, for coming on Talk Tuesday. Listen, um, we're about to go on break. Talk Tuesday is about to go on break, okay? And so we do this. I do this every year. I normally kind of take the summer off, and I come back in the fall. And so Yeah, so listen, Talk Tuesday. This is our last Talk Tuesday for the season. We are going into season six. 6 years for Talk Tuesday. Yay, God. All praise and honor go to him for giving me the vision. But Talk Tuesday, we will be returning in September. We will be returning in September. And so, you'll see a flyer, you'll see information when we will be coming back. But this is our last Talk Tuesday for the season. We'll be back in the fall for season year number 6. Hey, again, thank you, Lord, for the vision for Talk Tuesday. So, we're going on break, and I'm going to be giving you information for Andrea's book signing. Also, if you would like to be a guest in September, send me a DM. Most of you have my number. Send me a text. If you want to be a guest, again, all is welcome. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're an author, if you're starting a new business, if you want to share your story, your journey, like Andrea did tonight. Awesome, awesome testimony. Please reach out to me, and we'll get you on Talk Tuesday again. Talk Tuesday will be back, returning in September. If there's any other information that I need to give you before then, I'll post it. So I just want to say tonight, I want to just ask everyone to send up a prayer for the bereaved all over, the sick and shut in as well. And so I thank you all for supporting Talk Tuesday. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. We're going to try to do some new things for Talk Tuesday, maybe a new setting, maybe a new set. We don't know. We'll see what God has for me. Again, I thank God for Talk Tuesday. We're going on 6 years. And so, yeah, that's it. Again, I thank you all for your support. I really do appreciate you. Listen, that's it. Peace out. Again, thank you.